quarterfinal number 1, ladies and gentlemen. The Huya Super League. It is the never-ending eternal battle between FoCuS and ReMinD. We have seen this before, not too long ago, in either a Shook Cup or a Xiaohui Cup final. It was a 3-0 for FoCuS then, and as the result suggests, it was pretty one-sided, but ReMinD had some cool builds, and in general, I feel he's not too inspired by what other people play since his comeback, but he's just figuring out stuff on his own, and that makes ReMinD games super exciting to watch, in my opinion. So let's see what he's able to do against FoCuS, and what did he learn the past 5 weeks?
Yeah, ReMinD is like one of the big new hopes for Night Elves. Of course, the latest patch, or the previous patch, was the Night Elf patch, and ever since then, ever since the nerfs came in, everyone seemingly has suffered, especially against human, but it feels like the whole Night Elf guard combined in solidarity are looking towards ReMinD nowadays to bring them out of the misery, to save them from the dark ages, especially against human. And as you said, yeah, he has a lot of unique ideas that he's trying to experiment with, and that he seemingly comes up with himself. And we see it here already on Twisted, because normally Twisted is considered too dangerous of a map to go Ancient of War creeping early, because Blade Master and Grunts can punish you so hard. But ReMinD says, screw it, I'm gonna try it. He's gonna go Ancient of War creeping at the Warden camp, and actually in today's meta, that makes a lot of sense, because nowadays almost every orc on every position on Twisted will go for the Rock Golem creep, and that of course means that you're going to be left alone for quite a while to creep, and that's what ReMinD's going to do. And of course, this all is even more so the case with the build that orcs play, which is a no peon scout build. So the likelihood of this getting punished is actually pretty low by ReMinD. It certainly is a risk, but it's a calculated risk.
Yeah, and he knows that the orc is creeping the Rock Golem at the moment, but especially at this starting position at the bottom right, like every other Night Elf would creep the Mercenary camp, I feel. Which is even more of a risk, but a bigger reward, of course. Instant level 2, big consumable. ReMinD is not going for that. FoCuS on the other side.
Coming in. If he gets the last hit, that would be insane.
Oh, no. Gets a Belt of Giant Strength for a little bit more HP, but the Entangle ends up on the Grunt. He needs a couple more to really get the kill. So, no treants here. Is this enough for the Grunt? My stream is reloading. Why?
That's also something we've been seeing from ReMinD more and more, is Entangle first rather than treants first, which I think in a lot of cases makes a lot of sense. And that is what's going to give him the Grunt kill. And FoCuS doesn't deny the experience. That's a really big deal. This gives level 2 to the Keeper, and that looks like a mistake. FoCuS intentionally let him die and gave experience away in favor of doing damage to the Keeper, but now he's looking for the kill and might get it, would get it, if there was no TP used. So a TP for a Grunt traded in the early, pretty even trade, I would say.
Okay. So he did get the Grunt, right?
Yeah.
In the end, okay, my stream was reloading, so didn't quite catch it. Sells the Belt of Giant Strength, gets the Circlet in return. Kind of close to crit. One peon is just idling. Oh, the Blade Master's finding the Keeper again. Tech started now without double AOW, without too many upgrades. But no boots, as it seems, so not too much damage.
Oh yeah, my stream is also starting to lag quite hard over here.
Right, you had a little bit of a delay on the lag there. But what is there to do for FoCuS? Like, he can go into the base. He can threaten the Wisps a bit, but ReMinD will juggle them. Oh, almost blocking. Oh, there's an Entangle. No mana. Oh, no, my stream is lagging again. There we go. No mana for a Windwalk. That was dangerous for FoCuS.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta risk it to get the biscuit.
Entangle again. 2 hunters out yet. And tech at 40%. No second Engine of War. No sign of an expansion. He's using so much mana. Will it end up in a kill at the end? Yes, it does. And that is level 2.3 for ReMinD. It would be quite an upset if the old school Korean Night Elf defeats FoCuS here. I mean, FoCuS has been part of the scene since 2015 again, when he got back from the army. ReMinD just picked up the game 3 months ago, I guess, thanks to his girlfriend FoCuS that we love and adore. But yeah, good start.
Yeah, absolutely. ReMinD is looking really, really good now in this game. Twisted Metals oftentimes lead to these weird games where nobody's really creeping. We had one Rock Golem creep so far by FoCuS, but he's not very strong yet. Blade Master can certainly be a very strong hero, but does normally require some levels and items. And on the other hand, normally it's the Night Elf also who doesn't really creep much on this map. But look at ReMinD. He's almost level 3 now. He might even be getting it here. That's a nice level up. He has map control now, and it's going to produce more and more units. Observers already pointing it out that an expansion is expected, but the nowadays Law Alliance style focuses more on levels and map control and early map presence with army strength with a later expansion. And this is also the style that I saw from ReMinD recently. And yeah, ReMinD, he's eager to fight. He's looking for the next engagement.
All right, I lowered the quality to increase stream stability. Hopefully the lags will end now. Hex, but what a timing by ReMinD to kill the Blade Master. Like, Shadowhunter was in production, was occupying the altar, so even if it was just a level 1 Blade Master, he's still benched for quite some time, and that's a lot of time for this Alchemist to grab up the shop camp from, like, in front of FoCuS space.
Yeah, that's a really big deal. Gets the role with the Magi as well, which is nice. In the late game, it's oftentimes all about sustaining with heal spray. And another thing about the Shadowhunter, he was forced into Hex because he was about to face a lot of pressure there with the Huntresses, and he felt the need to go into Hex, which is not the ability you want for the late game. In the late game, you want to have Serpent Ward and Heal Wave. Early on level 1, Hex is great, but later on when the masses arise, no longer so good. Finally, FoCuS is going to be able to creep up himself a little bit at the, what's it called? The Null Camp. But ReMinD is getting much bigger camps. Now even steals the lab away.
Wow.
But of
He's
course, the
so
Rock Golem is
aggressive
missing.
with his creeping. It's pretty insane what he's doing here on the map. Like, second Engine of War coming in now, but shop and lab taken away from the Orc player. That is something very, very unique. And what do you decide? Oh, wow. Is it level 2 mirror image? Yeah, right? Like, it's level 2 Blade Master, and he decides to go for mirror image. What? Like, FoCuS's build is completely off the rail.
Yeah, also he's going for Kodo Beast, which is something we see from Orcs certainly sometimes against Night Elf, but normally only in the late game. Like 60 supply, 70 supply, oftentimes backed up by an expansion. Normally before that, it's just Shaman and Grunts with upgrades, but FoCuS instead goes for the Kodo, which of course is a nice damage boost and can get off some Devours. But look at the actual army outside the Kodos. We have 2 Grunts, 2 Shaman. That's it.
Yeah.
Blade Master finds the Scourge Bone Chimes, which for him is nice, but there's barely any Grunts to make use of because he's playing so much ranged army. It looks like he's playing against human almost.
He does. But FoCuS finds, with the help of Lady Luck, the Scourge Bone Chimes, 20% lifesteal on the Grunts now, makes his front line a little more beefy, and especially the Blade Master, but the overwhelming force is on ReMinD's side, who expands now in the bottom right. A little bit of a risky position since it's close to the Orc, but he should be able to hold it. The question is, when will FoCuS be able to take a fight with his higher quality army against the tier 1 stuff of ReMinD, of FoCuS? Of ReMinD. Now adding a Wyvern. God, I'm still drunk.
But yeah, that's quite a few range units over here. So FoCuS definitely needs some archers. These Huntresses don't really seem to be the best choice anymore as we're moving towards the late game because there's so much piercing damage in FoCuS's army. Levels, however, for the Orc are still somewhat lackluster. Oh, and did you see that? The Illusion was scouting for an expansion, but didn't see it because it's hidden in the little nook back there. The Twisted Meadows special, you can only do that at that gold mine. At all the other gold mines, there's not enough space for that. So I'm kind of surprised FoCuS didn't look there because this has been seen time and time again. But anyway, seems like the expansion will be coming up. ReMinD has his double level 3 levels right now. This is the first big power spike. Honestly, the heroes don't get that much stronger from this point on. Well, if you get to 5, I guess, but that is still far away. FoCuS also level 3 Blade Master now. But Shadow still not level 3 himself, and that's the problem.
There's no reinforced defenses, and there is level 3 Alchemist. Like, That was so fast. With heal spray now, he has so much sustain. Maybe he can even get rid of a production building. But 2 Wyvern, what is he supposed to do? I think ReMinD switched to archers. Was a little late. He's still not switching.
Yeah,
so what's he supposed to do against the Wyvern?
Yeah, he saw double Kodos already quite a while ago, and now Wind Riders as well. And he's still making hunts. I'm really not sure about this choice. Would love to see the upgrades as well.
It's a lot of Shaman on FoCuS' side, so the damage isn't too good, except maybe Lightning Shield. But where do you put it on? Grunts, I guess, and Blade Master. Lots of Wisps coming in. Is he tower pushing him to end this game?
Might just be for the detonates. Looks like a Foggy style, who also loves to bring mass wisps for the detonates. Mana's looking really good here for ReMinD. Keeper almost full mana. Alchemist is full mana. Once again, going towards the main and pressuring that. We have seen glaive attacks plenty of times. Killing strongholds pretty much by themselves. Don't know that ReMinD's army is quite big enough for that. He has 59 supply here, but it's not all with the army yet. Especially the archer numbers are really low.
It's 1. And the 2 heroes who can attack air. So FoCuS is threatening this fight. Wyvern coming in from the right-hand side. FoCuS, despite this push, investing into an expansion. That's almost 400 gold that he can't use an army. 54 supply for ReMinD, though. 1 grunt about to die. Trades it for 1 hunches. Not getting the kill yet. FoCuS fire a little lackluster. Here's the heal wave. No serpent wards, mind you. Second grunt is about to fall. The heal spray a little late, but now he gets it off.
Yeah, the heal spray is not so easy to use here. If you're facing a mass grunt army, everything is taking damage at the same time, so heal spray is really good, but there's a lot of piercing damage. There's a lot of focus fire from FoCuS, and he seems to be getting back into this game. Blade Master in trouble as well there with the entangle, but uses the heal pot and is fine, and FoCuS holds in the main, and in the meanwhile, his expansion keeps on producing, or keeps on constructing.
ReMinD is doing a few mistakes here, moving out the huntress out of the heal spray. Now getting 1 Wyvern. That's a lot of experience with the Blade Master in the back. Gets the anti-air, gets the archers level double 4. And the heal spray again a tiny bit too late. Double level up for the orc side as well. Not too much mana on the Blade Master anymore, but his blade is so sharp. Kills another archer. ReMinD's reinforcements are only archers. And what are they supposed to do against the 1000 HP Kodos, for example?
Yeah, this ranged army style for FoCuS seems to be working out pretty well. I don't think I've seen this before against Night Elf. Against Human, of course, plenty of times. Yes, Shaman and Kodos and Wind Riders. But nowadays, even against Night Elf, that seems to be working out rather well. ReMinD getting pushed further back. And now the numbers are pretty low. 45 supply. That is not the number you want to see yourself at when you're massing tier 1 Night Elf units.
Absolutely correct. So what is FoCuS supposed to do against this expansion now? The thing is, yes, for the fight, this was good, but what about buildings? Like 1 raider about to die, no grunts, Shaman, okay, now there's 1, but Shaman and Kodos, they don't do anything.
I really like the late addition of raiders, by the way. When the fight is won, then adding in is FoCuS finally the raiders to look for stragglers, as he has the map strength. And you know what? With this build, with this mass piercing damage build, you don't actually need serpent wards, it seems. So then you can once again make use of Hex, which can be a very good lockdown tool in the right situation. And this game suddenly is looking great for FoCuS, even if this expansion doesn't die. The expo for the orc is now up, or at least pretty much up.
Yeah. This is kind of rare that orcs get this expansion up so easily, like unpunished, no treants, no peon harass, nothing. And FoCuS seemingly turning this game around. 54 supply now, going into this army heal wave to save this raider. Keeper of the Grove in trouble, down to 50%. Alchemist is doing his best. Oh boy, that critical strike for about 150. Getting 1 invul, but that was the last one. And the Blade Master with his physical damage, just cutting through this army. The necessary mass is just not here.
And in this scenario, when the Night Elf has so little army to begin with, this Scourge Bone Chimes is so good, by the way. This Blade Master has gotten so much healing from that item. Yeah. And now finally gets more value for the rest of the army as well, as we're seeing more grunts and more raiders being added into the mix. And ReMinD just simply doesn't have the numbers anymore. You need 60 plus supply, you need the scrolls, you need the upgrades. And he doesn't have scrolls anymore, doesn't have upgrades or numbers anymore. Alchemist dies. And FoCuS is just trading tremendously well, finding kill after kill, almost level 5 on its Shadow Hunter, actually.
He was under pressure for such a long time in this game. ReMinD took so many great camps, the progress of his heroes was really good, but FoCuS just too stable. Tier 2 army, once the Kodos are there, wow, double level 5 now.
Yeah.
It feels like a minute ago that they fought in the base and they got double level 4, and this is so big now. Crit level 3, heal wave level 3.
I think the big mistake here by ReMinD was fighting one too soon, and secondly, with way too few archers. He went into that fight with 2 archers only against double Kodo, double Windrider. That doesn't seem to work out too well. But more than that, I think FoCuS's style here is really good against the heal spray, because he was focusing single targets, kind of undead style, like with the Fiend army, where that AoE healing isn't that good. And FoCuS is fighting more and more, and my stream is lagging more and more.
Okay, we go into push against this Night Elf expansion. This is seemingly what keeps ReMinD in the game. The double gold mine, nothing else for him to do. Xiaolin pointed out there's a lot of stuff left on the map, but FoCuS man, 67 supply, and there we go. GG by ReMinD. FoCuS wins map number 1.
Crazy. I thought ReMinD had a really, really big lead that game, and was only a matter of time for him to close this out when he had the expo up. But FoCuS turns it around.
Was this a game where Wyvern decided it?
It was part of it, but it's more like the range switch. Orc moving away from melee, going towards range, just like they are doing in Human, in the matchup versus Human, and have done against Undead for a long time in the late game. Now we're starting to see it as well versus Night Elf. I'm not sure if this is just a variant, if this is just a build you throw in once or twice, or if this could actually have the potential of becoming meta. Because it looked pretty good. FoCuS was definitely behind in that game, but the army comp just seems to make sense. However, question remains, what if the Night Elf, instead of 2 archers, has 10 archers? How differently is that going to look then?
Thank you very much, Furu Katsuragi, for a 21-month resub. 21 month of Warcraft cast. Thanks, guys. Thanks for following us for such a long time. And even longer is a subscription by a true legend of Warcraft 3 casting, Chumpesk, as pretty much every Saturday. He is here with us. You wonderful person. Thank you very much for your continuous support.
Thank you guys very much indeed. Our remaining maps are LR and... Wait.
Terranos.
No, this is wrong.
No, wait, that's wrong, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
guess
think they switched like, Terranos and Twisted.
It feels like everything is wrong. Like, it's not FoCuS's pick right now. I guess that's why his map is highlighted. So it reminds pick Echo Isles, and the starting map is wrong as well.
So it should be Echo now next, and then LR in case FoCuS loses, if we understand that right.
Terranos is like the #1 ban against Orc.
Yeah, exactly. So good for the Shadow Hunter, so good for Mercs, so good for Dispel with the Shadow Priest, and so on. All things the Keeper Mass Hunts don't like. But Echo Isle is going to be interesting. I have always been a big fan of greedy Ancient of War creeping against Orc because it almost never gets punished. And we kind of saw that on map 1 already. Thinking back to that opening, by the way, you brought it up in the game. Why did ReMinD, if he does take the risk, why does he not go for the Merc camp? There must be a good reason for it.
It's faster, but it's not level 2, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit safer, but if the blade does come in with a grunt, you're still screwed. Like, you're screwed either way, regardless of what camp you go for.
Yeah.
But I guess the thing with if you go for the gnolls, you can move away with the Keeper earlier for the harass, and that actually gave him the grunt kill. I think that's something you can't afford to do if you're going Merc camp. Also, if you're going Merc camp, you probably have to go Treants. There you probably can't go Entangle first, as he did. Maybe that's the reason. So
next map is Echo Isles. We're waiting for ReMinD to join the game. And in case you have some time later tonight, there's Rising Star Cup number 6, and you should definitely sign up for that. Last time we had over 150 participants. Maybe we can even increase that for the 6th episode. There is prize money to earn, $150, due to the support of AMD, and points together for the leaderboard for the finals at the end of February and the beginning of March. So sign up, it's risingstart@backtowarcraft.com.
Yeah. I'm gonna play as well later. I still have to make an account. I'm gonna need to remember that. Until when can you sign in? Until 4 p.m., right?
No, until 5 p.m. You just have to check in at 4. But you can like sign up and then it's an immediate check-in if you sign up past 4.
Ah, okay, good.
Thank you, Chris Tricks, for the 12-month resub. 1 entire year. Is Neo drunk? I am not in the best condition. But I'm here. And like my points in game number 1 were kind of solid. I'm doing my best, like from what I can do.
Yeah, Neo, he's a real trooper today. Despite, you know, what life throws at you sometimes, he's still here. So nice that you're here with us, Neo.
Yeah, life threw a couple of bottles of vodka at me yesterday.
I take it you didn't have Elotrans before you went to sleep.
No, that was a big mistake. Big mistake.
Yeah, but easy to forget sometimes if you had a good night.
True. I had some grip of start and some, you know, what's in there actually? Some pills. Some other pills. I don't know if that's helping.
You know what I find really weird? In the Huya chat, they're all posting horses, but not just today, also yesterday. What's up with all the horses? Is that like a Chinese meme?
That is the girlfriend of my brother, just watching Warcraft with a bunch of accounts.
Well, where are the cats then, though? I just see the horses.
What I know is that we have a game, number 2. FoCuS versus ReMinD goes on to Echo Isles. And so far, FoCuS defeated ReMinD 3-0 in a... I really would love to know what cup it was. Shook Cup or Shawi Cup. I think it was Shawi Cup, actually. So 4-0. And this definitely looks like a keeper. Again, the Engine of War, close to the green spot. FoCuS. Blade Master again, or maybe a switch to Farseer.
I would have loved to see a Merc Camp creep here from ReMinD. Yeah. And ReMinD is like the player to do it as well. But maybe it's a little too predictable. After game 1, after you went for greedy creep there already. This is certainly the safe play. This is certainly the reliable play. And also one that may very well lead to victory. Might be a tough map now to bounce back to for ReMinD, because he must be aware he had a pretty big lead after the early game, but suddenly it still slipped away. And this is oftentimes where great players really show themselves, where yes, they took a loss, but then they immediately learn from it and know what to do next. In the next game, sometimes it doesn't even look close the other way around. Happy is one of those examples. So heroes are coming in, should be very predictable, should be a keeper versus a Blade Master. Anything else would be a big surprise. We have had a big article on War 3 Info by Sart talking about the Farseer aggressive play potential against Night Elf. That is a rarity that we sometimes see, but normally not too reliable to play against the top Night Elf players, which ReMinD certainly belongs to. Cameraman is just chilling out.
My stream is frozen for a second. By the way, there we go. Shout out to Sart, who signed up for the Warcraft3.info editor crew. We need more like this with the Reforged, with all these tournaments. We need more writers in the scene. And Warcraft3.info is, of course, the best place to put your articles out. So if you do have some time, if you want to support the scene, Warcraft3.info is the best place to do that. And we have a Huntress transition by ReMinD. Very calm early game. Early shop. It's a
super early shop.
Super early shop.
This effectively costs a lot of lumber, because first, that building costs lumber. Secondly, a wisp dies, so to speak. So that one doesn't get you lumber. It's just the supply trick. Okay, never mind. I still fall for that after all these years. It was just the 21 supply trick. Keeper safely creeping towards his level 2. Blade Master can't really interrupt this. Looking towards the marketplace. What do we have? Well, we certainly have an Ogre Magi back there, who was waiting to be assassinated. Weird losers map pick as well by Night Elf, right? Like Echo is so good for the Blade Master to stack up on and stuff. And especially if you lose map control and if you start losing the scrolls, that's a big problem. That's going to be something that ReMinD needs to be careful about, not to let happen. Archer almost getting level 2. Creeping was a little bit off there. That level 2 could have been acquired a lot earlier. Keeper gets it now.
Level 2.
Blade Master.
This Blade Master is in danger, indeed. Has to use the heal scroll. Archer gets away with like 5 HP. Can't really finish this creep. Got enough for the creep spot. ReMinD in general, very creative when it comes to creeping. We see, like, he introduced the new Night Elf creep route on last Refuge. But okay, here we go. Entangle, kills, but not getting the grunt.
And with the Blade Master returning, the Keeper will have to back off. In the old meta, this is where we would have expected a Night Elf Tree of Life coming up somewhere for the expansion. But this is not really the meta anymore. Again, as mentioned earlier, it's more about faster teching, faster upgrades, bigger Huntress numbers, high levels, and map control. Big strength in the mid game, and then expanding behind that.
How do you get map control against the Blade Master? Deny level 3, I guess, is one part.
I mean, map control, not in the sense of map vision, but rather having the stronger army and then bullying your opponent around the map.
Love
and that can be, and that can be achieved certainly with a Keeper level 3, high Huntress numbers, 2-0 upgrades, Moonglaves. Alchemist coming in with Acid Bomb. That is already quite a big power spike for the Keeper. FoCuS playing really defensively so far.
Yeah. He has pretty much nothing to do. Like, he's not even creeping the green spots with his grunts. Now, Snap Teleportation used. I love that item. We've seen it yesterday from Elegant.
That was a cool play. And the Blade Master, pretty stupidly, honestly, following the Keeper all the way across the map, and then the Keeper just staffs across said map, and boom, there he is. Steals the natural camp away, which is like one of the most beneficial camps to go for. I like the scout here by FoCuS, expecting perhaps a Merc camp creep by his opponent. And if that was the case, he could try to punish that. But ReMinD wasn't being that greedy. He wasn't trying for the Merc camp. Just took out the natural. Blade Master took out the Ogre Magi. With that, finally gets level 2. And by the way, FoCuS' build, this is basically the Lin build. Well, with the heroes swapped out. But it's 2 grunts only, early War Mill, Bestiary Lodge. But of course, Blade Master over Farseer and also Shadow instead of TC. But other than that, this is pretty much the Lin build.
Will this become meta in more matchups than just versus human? FoCuS seems to like it. Shadowhunter, 0 experience. Not moving at all. So, rest of the camp in the middle goes to ReMinD. Will he get the level 3 Alchemist as fast as he got it on Twisted? That was quite a gamble on TM to go for these big creep spots. This will be easier to punish on Echo Owls today.
As far as aggressive potential is concerned, though, with the early Shaman, Keeper shouldn't be able to do too much. And the first Kodo is always really impactful. Like, when you're below 40 supply, snacking away a 3 supply unit is a really, really big deal. And of course, the Alright always provides. Oh, but the Blade Master, what's he doing?
Yeah,
He's got totally the wrong idea.
Why is he at the turtle?
Yeah, this is like the last camp you normally go for, so that's a really strange scout.
Nice block with the Treants, heal wave, okay, but it's only level 1. This
that Treant block, are you serious?
That was pretty sick, ReMinD. And
that
now he's focusing
against the speed scroll. Jesus Christ, that was a sick play.
He's focusing the Shadowhunter, wants to get him dead at level 1. He's trying to evacuate. Damage isn't too great with pretty much no long range, but he's taking out that Shaman in a bit. He got the Kodo already. That's big pickups. Acid Bomb against the second Shaman. So when this guy's dead, there's no Dispel anymore. Uh-oh, Entangle on the Shadowhunter. This is a disastrous early mid-game for FoCuS.
Yeah, this Blade Master usage is super questionable. Like, in the first place, you kind of have to creep with Blade Master with this build, I think, because you don't have enough damage. But if you don't creep, at least you have to know where your opponent is. And FoCuS managed to achieve neither with his Blade Master usage and gets punished really, really hard with that.
Yeah.
ReMinD takes a phenomenal trade. And FoCuS placed a Burrow at the natural already. Well, that's quite special. Dryads! Excuse me? And tier 3! He's playing bears! What?
Or is it MGs?
Or MGs. I think both are pretty trash.
This is
but MGs are better.
Tier 3 Night Elf on Echo without an expansion.
If Starshade was here, he would certainly be rooting for the bears.
Yeah, Starshade.
I saw in the War3 Info ELO ranking stuff, I think Starshaped, according to ELO, is like Europe's 3rd best Night Elf or something like that.
Who else is there? Foggy, Neutron? That's it? Yeah.
And
I mean, 2 times semi-final Rising Star Cup.
Hell yeah.
Starshaped is in pretty good shape, actually. Even though he named himself, what was it at the W3AL game for 3rd? Out of shape.
Star out of shape.
Star out of shape, exactly.
Daytime now. ReMinD is at the shop. Should be going for a heal scroll here. Expansion by FoCuS, which I think is supposed to be a counter expansion. But little does he know, ReMinD doesn't even go for the expansion. Not yet, anyways. Who got the heal scroll here? That's a big deal. Well, ReMinD doesn't have it. So I think the Blade Master stole it.
Uh-oh, Poison Ivy plus reveal. So even though he is in Windwalk, he can still be attacked, but the army is pretty abysmal.
Everything is hurt here for ReMinD. This is looking scary. Shadowhunter does not want to die again. Picks up the Periapt for a bit more survivability. There's one more entangled by the Keeper. Can he get into range?
Oh, yeah, he can. And the Shadowhunter dies for the 2nd time. Oh boy. That Alchemist is safe for now. And FoCuS Army is at 50%, but he's so happy with a level 2 Shadowhunter kill.
So what's it gonna be? MG's 3rd hero. What? Pot him!
Pot him and going Mountain Giants.
Pot him MGs?
Like, you need an expansion to do this, right? Like, MGs are so expensive.
That looks like Starshade build, dude. What the hell? Orb of Venom, that's really good. That's like probably the best thing he's getting from tier 3.
Oh, we forgot about Sonic, by the way. So I guess it's Foggy, Neutron, Sonic, then Starshade, so top 4. And Kevin Schwem comes into the chat like, this is copyright by Kim Chun Sam. give ReMinD mod, I guess.
Give ReMinD mod right now. Oh, but okay, I mean, I'm down to be surprised here, but on paper this just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
I mean, we've seen Night Elves play Potom with mass bears. That was smooth. So maybe it doesn't have to make sense. Maybe it just works out for them.
And against this build as Orc, I think you actually do really want Raiders because you want to ensnare the Dryads, kill them off, and ignore the Mountain Giants. If you don't have ensnare, it's really hard to control these damn Dryads.
Yeah. Chat is asking if the Alchemist is benefiting from the True Shot aura. If he attacks range, yes. If he attacks melee, nope. It's just not indicated because the normal attack is the melee one. And the Potom just died. Don't know if Remo was still with us, but...
my stream was black.
Okay. Grunt is falling as well. Potom didn't do too much. First Mountain Giant is out. Upgrades are coming, but for now, where is the damage? Really, Alchemist was out of that fight for a long time. Now slow, now Acid Bomb.
Keeping Orb of Venom on the Potom, by the way, is pretty questionable. She's like the most likely one to die. Seems like that should be on the Keeper.
Yeah.
But ReMinD gets a Kodo in the retreat. Looks like FoCuS doesn't have a speed scroll here anymore. Goes for a heal scroll instead.
Blade Master eating Poison Ivy, but breaks through it with an Invul Potion. He has one more heal scroll, and it's quite fascinating how much ReMinD gets done with just 4 Dryads and his heroes. Saves the rest of the army now. Dryads, of course, fast and slow against the enemy units. Expands this gap even further.
Podem is back, but ReMinD is setting up his own counter expansion. That one will certainly be quite a bit behind that of FoCuS, but he's on the way. Weird ragtag army here. It's 3 dryads, half dead, and 1 big mountain giant who just wants to be getting attacked, but who is so far getting ignored, which is of course the proper play by FoCuS.
Expo up. Just needs more time. And this army is really not scary. Heal scroll used now, focusing this raider, but there's still ensnare. And it feels like FoCuS can easily deal with it, except if he loses the hero. Reveal again. Buff and debuff list at the bottom grows and grows and grows.
Yesterday it was funny when it went towards the inventory space.
Yes. Happy versus Linguagua. Oh, critical strike. Bottom gotta be careful. Alchemist in the midst of everything. But everything except this mountain giant is dead.
And this MG so far really hasn't done that much.
Nope.
Like the taunts have soaked up maybe like... Is he actually full HP? Look at this MG. He's completely full HP. He hasn't been attacked once yet. Despite
taunt, like this is a pretty good example of how good FoCuS's micro is. Like he used taunt, but FoCuS was so fast that there was just like 1 attack max on this mountain giant. So he moved his army so quickly after the taunt that it didn't even get attacked once or twice.
And this is the reason why this strat seemingly doesn't work too well against really good orcs. Against worse orcs, there's a few right clicks going in, there's a bit of A-click going on, this MG is going to take up a lot of damage, going to be the tank that he wants to be. But against the top orcs, he just gets ignored. Now, that's going to get a lot harder if ReMinD manages to stay on 2 bases for a long time without being disrupted and then gets to 4 MGs, 5 MGs. Then it gets really problematic. But so far, it's only the single one.
And the bottom, what did she really do? Nothing, and she dies. Oh, not really. Staff out. But
double orb of venom.
Triple orb is, I guess, the goal. But it's only 39 supply, and there's so much catch in this army. There's so much beef in this army. FoCuS, like, this is so much. He has good casters. He has a good front line. He has good heroes. There's not even heal spray on this alchemist. Like, it's Chemical Rage.
Yeah, not so sure about that choice either. Also, Keeper not having orb, that's the big mistake. Like, this bottom is either dying or has to be staffed out over and over and over. This orb should have been on the Keeper a long time ago, especially now that he has to. Okay, finally, he gives one over to the Keeper. That should have been done quite a while ago, to be honest. But, ReMinD on 2 bases. He's being left alone for a little bit. He's going to have quite a bit of gold here soon. However, still struggling to build up a big army as he keeps on losing dryads more and more, whilst FoCuS, he's at 60 supply already.
He's playing this game so confidently. Like, there's no real threat. He knows there's no big Night Elf power spike coming that he has to defend against. It's just the common stuff, and so he decides to be the one to push. We have an Owl Scout, which says a lot about the value of the bottom at this stage of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he can't go Searing Arrow because of Orb of Venom, right?
Yeah.
So, FoCuS is committing him pretty deep here towards the main. Finally, the MG is soaking up some damage, and this is a good position actually now for ReMinD. He's got the Moonwells in the back, he's got reinforcements coming in right away, he even has a shop to make use of. He killed the first raider right away, and the second one as well. And once the ensnares are gone, perhaps he can out-micro this.
FoCuS is eager to kill this alchemist, forces him into a potion. Mirror image once again to not get entangled, to maybe dodge it, but oh my god, this damage on the bottom. 2 crits in a row, and bye-bye, True Shot Aura. Entangle actually used on the illusion, mistake by ReMinD. And there's Berserkers now. This army is so powerful.
Yeah, despite losing the 2 raiders or whatever it was, FoCuS still able to produce more and more, of course, from these 2 bases. 65 supply now for him. Once again, he wants to make it back to the shop and get that heal scroll. He still has 1 heal scroll, in fact. Big army. He may want to consider attacking the expansion. He has quite a bit of damage against buildings. Could be able, perhaps, to snipe this Tree of Life.
There's a Moonwell. There's an Engine of War. Defense is rather good at this expo. Very calm and collected. This time we have Serpent Wards, by the way, so it's not the Heal Wave Hex build anymore. ReMinD is struggling. After losing 3-0 in... I forgot again what cup it was. Looks like a 2-0 here, and FoCuS with a good start into the year so far. Blademaster focusing on the Dryad. There he gets the kill. Down to 50% though. Maybe there is an opening on killing it, but there's always Mirror Image to get out of the Entangled. That's the last bit of mana though, so no Windwalk. Invo Potion used and Snare. Everything thrown onto this Keeper of the Grove. Does he have that, like, enough time to chew through it? Raiders are doing so much damage against the Dryads. It's like, it's just A-click at this point.
Yeah, the ensnares here are turning out to be really, really valuable. Kill after kill coming in, and only 50 supply. It looks even less for ReMinD.
Ooh, Blade. Down to 60 HP, but the heal wave is ready. And whenever a Dryad is coming into this fight, she's immediately sniped. And, oh, Poison Ivy gets not rid of it. Blademaster dies. Is this a comeback mechanism for ReMinD? Maybe. He still has his triple hero combo, and is this enough damage to fight this? I guess yes.
FoCuS is rich though. He could just buy back from the Blademaster from the tavern if he wanted to. Even the MG's now close to dying. But ReMinD has found a bit of a lifeline here. If he can extend this fight further, keep on attacking different targets with the Orb of Venom, maybe he can hold.
We got FoCuS tier 3, by the way. We didn't see this before. Of course he had a lot of time, but seeing tier 3 in Orc versus Night Elf on the Orc side is super rare. Blademaster back. Maybe, with a little bit of luck, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna hear the rah-rah-rah.
And the tier 3 always indicates that the Orc is feeling really, really, really secure in the game. Not feeling the need to mass on tier 2. What else could we have on tier 3? Orb of Lightning, of course, really, really good against Dryads.
Yeah.
And third hero, meh.
See, I mean, it makes pretty much no sense to go for it.
Yeah. But of course, rah. Exactly. Like, Bloodlust is actually crazy good. There's nowhere near enough mana for the Dryads to dispel it all.
Headhunter upgrade, of course, for more HP.
For the one Headhunter.
Well, I mean, makes a difference, right?
Yeah. How much HP do they get again? 50? 75? Something like that?
We see 4 Raiders killing this Engine of War. Super easy. And that's level 5 for the Blade as well. High damage crits now. Does he have Pillage? Looks like it, huh? Yeah. Boom. This is such an easy kill for FoCuS.
Yeah,
ReMinD is hanging on to deal life, but we have Bloodlust.
He's got a 63 supply army, but that's a problem with Mountain Giants. If there's no fountains, it's so hard to heal them up.
Remo, we don't
there we
have
go.
the in-game sounds here. Please do us the honor.
The Shaman have Bloodlust, and you guys know what that means. Rah, 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 rah. We already saw it on the Blademaster. Wisps all detonated. Blade is out of mana, but doesn't matter that much. He still has the invul here to protect himself with, and the Shadow is full mana with a level 3 heal wave.
Full.
To the brim!
Did you know that interview by Manuelsen? It's like German rap classic.
No.
I come into this cafe, you know, full. Legendary. Here we go. Serpent once again. FoCuS is willing to close this game. We see almost the rate of falling, but the heal wave is there in time. Alchemist is trying to do as good as he can. Bottom levels up, but that is all pretty much meaningless as the Mountain Giants die. One gets staffs out, and another one will fall, and there's always 7 supply. Bye-bye, Alchemist, in the midst of everything.
Oh, this is such a terrifying orc army, dude. Jesus Christ. Everything's red, everything's bloodthirsty, and for ReMinD, everything's dying.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, it's Echo Isles, like, I don't even have to cast this game anymore. Shout out to Take. Bottom is falling. He has the staffs down, so he's really doing his best holding on, but in the long run. Treants don't do anything. Everything is bloodlust at level 6. Bottom falls. Invo potion. Would love to see a Blade Storm, but he's not doing us the favor as there is no mana and FoCuS. After defeating Fortitude, he also defeats ReMinD and advances into the semi-final tomorrow.
Game 1 seemed like should be ReMinD's. Game 2, the MG Dryad style. I just don't think it works against the top orcs. It just seems too susceptible to being out-microed.
I agree. That was an interesting approach, but you really need 3+ mountain giants as fast as you can get them to just make sure you get this like void or the black hole of mountain giants. Didn't happen. And yeah, with that, too few dryads, you don't have the damage, you can't fight one-on-one.
Honestly, like the early late game stage, when the Potom came in, if ReMinD had given the orb over to the Keeper, that could have made quite the difference. I don't think it would have been enough, but if he had spread the poison properly when they were battling tug of war back and forth in the south, that orb could have gotten a lot of value, but he kept it on the Potom, which definitely was a big mistake.
Yeah, but I think
still,
even this doesn't save him the game.
Yeah. Would have looked better, though, at least.
A little. So, do we know the order of games for today?
Yes, we're going to have Infi versus Yumi next, then Elegant versus Sock, and then Happy versus 1-0.
Human Mirror next. Happy gonna be the main event again, just as he was last day. What? Yesterday.
Some scholars also call it yesterday.
Mr. I'm sober today, so I know the right words.
I've been sober for a long time now.
Oh, Mr. I'm sober for a long time now.
It's pretty funny when the shoe is on the other foot.
So here's our bracket. FoCuS advances. He will face another human, as he did in the round of 16. He eliminated one of the strongest humans before, so he can do it again tomorrow. Infi or Yumiko? Infi clearly the favorite going into this next Human Mirror, but we have seen him struggle at WGL. Yumiko is he in a shape to threaten him. Afterwards, Sock vs Elegant, Happy vs 1-0. A nice day of Warcraft here at Back to Warcraft before going into